Okay, so we're doing a few more examples. Now that we know these things, now we're actually going to put them into practice. Okay, so vertical angles are equal to each other. Alternate interior, alternate exterior, and corresponding. Then we know that the two of them added together equal 180. If they are same side interior or same side exterior. Okay, let's look at number 1. What type of angles are the ones on number 1? Alternate interior. Does anyone else see alternate interior? They make that Z shape, right? And we know that alternate interior angles are, here they are, they're alternate interior, they're equal. So what are we going to do with those two angles, the 5x plus 15 and the 6x plus 6? Excellent, we're going to set them equal to each other, right? So 5x plus 15 equals 6x plus 6. Okay, go ahead and solve that. Did you get that done, Brianna?
I'm still trying to.
Oh, okay. Thanks. And I'm going to make myself a note that says these are the alternate interior angles and they're congruent. Okay, so if I subtract 5x, I get x. If I subtract 6, I get 9. You guys getting x to be 9?
Yeah.
Okay, but the problem says find the measure of the angle that's indicated in bold. And you can maybe kind of see, do you guys see which angle is bold on your paper?
Is it the 5x?
It's the 5x plus 15. It's a little bit, should be a little bit darker. On your homework and stuff, I'll tell you which one to choose. Okay, I won't just hope that you can see which one is bold. So if I want to figure out how much this angle is here, what am I going to have to do with it?
Plug x back.
Plug our x value back in, right? So 5 times 9 plus 15. 45 plus 15 you said is 60 degrees. And we don't know what that angle is called, so we can't say like the measure of PQE or whatever. So we'll just put 60. Okay, what kind of angles are on number 2? It's a linear pair, right? They make a line. Okay, so we're going to write down that these are a linear pair. And a linear pair do what? They equal 180, right? So on this one, I'm going to do little plus little equals 180. So I have x plus 137 plus x plus 57 equals 180. You may use your calculators, that's fine. So we're going to add the two of them together to equal 180 degrees. So I'm adding these together. X plus x is 2x. What's 137 plus 57? What? 194? Okay, that's what she said. So then we're going to subtract 194 from both sides.
2x equals 186.
It's a 2x. Ooh. 180 minus 194 should be negative 14. So divide by 2, so x is negative 7. Now, can an angle be a negative number? Can you have negative 13 degrees? No. A negative 13 degrees, that wouldn't make sense. Yeah, temperature-wise, you're right, we can. But we can't have an angle with a negative degrees. So, but it's okay for our x to be negative because we're not finished, right? It says to plug back in for the bold number. So this angle was the bold one, the x plus 137. But what is my x value that I'm plugging back in? -7. So -7 plus 137 is a positive 130. You forgot about your signs. For the angle that I circled in red up here, because it says to plug back in for the angle that's in bold. Can you kind of see that it's darker than the other one? So that's why we plugged back in for it. Time out. Oh wait, that's okay. Never mind. Yep, 130. Okay, let's try number 3. First of all, we need to figure out what kind of angles they are on number 3. Quentin says corresponding. Does anyone agree that they are corresponding?
Yes.
One's inside, one's outside, right? So they're corresponding. What'd you say? They're equally to each other. We know that corresponding angles are equal. So I'm going to set these two angles equal to each other. 28x plus 6 equals 29x plus 2. Good. Okay, let's go ahead and solve this for x. So, Belinda, this is what I would encourage you to do. Take the 28x and move it over to the other side. I know you're used to using x on the left side, but it's going to help you to keep numbers positive. So then that just leaves me with 1x, right? And then we need to get rid of that 2. How do you get rid of that 2? I can't hear you. What'd you say? Oh, okay. Good. So you're subtracting it, right? 4. 6 minus 2 is 4. You guys have 4 for your x?
Yes.
Okay, which one are we going to plug it back in for?
The 28x plus 6.
Excellent. So the 28x plus 6 is the one that's in bold. Again, on your homework, you're not going to have to try to figure out which one is bold and which one is not. Okay, so I'm going to plug 4 back in for my x there. 28 times 4 plus 6. You said 28 times 4 is 112. And that is 118. Good. Is 112. Not 128, just 28. Plus the 6, right? Yep. Good job. Okay, what about number 4? What type of angles are number 4, Samantha? Vertical angles, right? They make that x, this angle and this angle. They are vertical angles, and vertical angles are congruent or supplementary? They're congruent, right? They're equal to each other, so I'm going to set these equal to each other. So I have 18x equals 5 plus 17x. So let's just move our 17x over. I want you to move the x that's going to keep the x value positive. So like if you move an 18 over, you're going to get a negative x value. So always move the x that's going to keep your x value positive. So if you subtract 17, you're going to have a positive 1. Right? Okay. Yep. Yeah. Right. So you'd have 1x, and then you have a 5 left over there. Brianna, which one are we going to plug it back into? The what? Okay. Ooh, good. She said, I asked her which one she's going to plug back into, and she said the interior angle, which was the 5 plus 17x. Is that where you guys plugged it back in?
Yep.
What is 17 times 5?
85.
So 5 plus 85 is
90.
90 degrees. Good. Okay, what about number 5? What kind of angles? It says find the value of x that makes the lines u and v parallel. So we have this 12x minus 6 And then what else do we have there? Ooh, 90 degrees. You guys remember that? So we're talking about those two angles. So what types of angles are these two? Okay, take a minute. Okay, remember one is on the outside, exterior. One's on the interior. Interior and exterior is corresponding. And Belinda, corresponding angles are congruent to each other or they equal 180? What'd you write at the top of your page? Okay, so that means we're going to set them what? Thank you, Belinda. We're going to set them equal to each other. 12x minus 6 equals 90. Because remember, we talked about how that little box, that little red box, means 90 degrees. So on these problems, we're just finding x. We don't have to plug back in. We're just finding x. So if I divide 96 by 12, I get what? 8? Anybody else get 8?
Yes.
Good. Okay, try number 6 on your own. Try number 6 on your own. Identify what type they are and then figure out what you need to do with them. Ask yourself, are they both on the inside? Are they both on the outside, or is one on either side? So, Belinda, are they both on the inside or both on the outside? Or one of each? They're both on the outside, right? So then the question is, are they on opposite sides of that line cutting through the middle? Or are they on the same side? They're on opposite sides. Good. So they're opposite and outside, which is a fancy way of saying alternate exterior. Okay. Quentin, what'd you do with these two? Do you set them equal to each other, or did you put them equal to 180? Okay. Are alternate exterior angles supplementary? Are alternate exterior angles equal to 180? Look at the list that you created at the top. Alternate exterior. They're congruent. So what should we do with these? Set them equal to each other. Right? Not 180. Okay, so you set 14x minus 2 equal to 110. Okay. So you get 14x equals 112. Patrick, what is 112 divided by 14? 8. Good. Any questions on number 6? All right. Number 7 and number 8. Okay, so same type of problem. They're just asking you to do it a little bit differently. It says find the measure of the indicated angle that makes the lines parallel. So we're going to call this angle, the one that has a question mark, let's put an X in there. Okay, so the one that has a question mark, let's put an X in there. So now, what type of angles are they? Don't shout it out, let's just think about it. Are they both inside or both outside? That's the question to ask yourself. Are they both inside or are they both outside? And we would all say they are both what? Nope, they're both inside or outside? Inside. Patrick answered for the whole class. Do you guys agree with him? They're both on the interior?
Yes.
Okay, so now the question is, are they on the same side or are they on opposite sides?
Opposite.
Woo! Here's my line. Are they both on the same side? Or are they, one of them's on the opposite side? They're both on the same side, right? So these are same side interior. And same side interior, can you wait till I finish number 8, please? And then head out.
I'm trying to like see.
Okay, so if they are same side interior, look at your list. Same side interior do what?
Equal to 1.
Equal to 180, right? So I'm going to set x plus 82 equal to 180. If we're solving this for x, I subtract 82. What'd you get, Crystal?
For number 7, I got x equals 98.
98?
Yes.
Does anyone agree with 98 there? Number 7? Good. Yep. Okay, before you leave, we're going to do number 8. Then you can head on out. Okay, number 8. We're going to set this angle that we don't know to x. And then we're going to decide, are they both inside or are they both outside?
Neither. They're corresponding.
One's outside, one's inside. What kind of angles are those when one's inside, one's outside? Corresponding. Okay, that's the one that's tricky. When one's inside, one's outside is corresponding. And if we look at the list up top, corresponding angles, what do we do with them? Before you shout it out, think about it. Excellent. We set them equal to each other. So on this one, I'm going to set the two angles equal to each other. And that's the answer, right? There's nothing more to do.
So I didn't do it right.
They're just equal to each other. That one's it.
Is it really that easy?
Okay, let's finish up with these last few examples here. In problem number 9, they're asking us to find measure of angle GHI. And it should be in our problem, but it's not. So let's go ahead and draw that these two lines are parallel to each other. And it's asking me to find the angle GHI. So GHI is this big angle here. But the problem is that even though these two might look like alternate interior, they are not, because there is no parallel line right here. We're missing a parallel line, so we can't compare these two. However, as a geometry student, you are allowed to draw another vertical line. So we're going to go ahead and draw a vertical line here. We're going to make it dashed because it's not technically there. And we're going to say that this angle and this angle are alternate interior angles. So if this one up here is 42, then we know that this angle right here is also 42 degrees. Likewise, we can say on the bottom we have this angle here, this angle here. I'm using two arcs because the angles, if I just used one arc, it would mean that it was 42, because we drew the 42 angles with just one arc. So we're going to use two arcs to simplify that it's a different angle. But these are also alternate interior angles, and so if this bottom one is 70, then we know that this is 70. And then together, I can add these two angles, and that will give me angle GHI. So our showing our work over here is going to say measure of angle GHI is equal to 70 plus 42. And 70 plus 42 is 112. So the measure of angle GHI is 112. So number 10 is somewhat like that. So let's look at number 10. Oh, I'm sorry, it's not. It's different. But the ones in your homework, you have a couple in your homework that are like number 9. Okay. So number 10 says 7th Avenue runs perpendicular. Remember, perpendicular means 90 degrees to both 1st and 2nd Street. And notice in our diagram, they've already given us right angles here because they're perpendicular. And 1st and 2nd streets are parallel. So let's go ahead and mark that these two lines are parallel. You can draw arrows that are not little triangles. That also means parallel. It says, however, Maple Avenue makes a 115-degree angle with 2nd Street. What is the measure of angle 1? Well, if these two lines are parallel, 1st and 2nd Street, then I need to know the relationship between this angle and this angle. There is no relationship. These are not corresponding because even though one's inside and one's outside, they're not on the same side of the transversal. So there is no relationship between these two angles, which means I have to find a different way around. Would you agree that this angle here and this angle here, angle 1, are alternate interior angles? And if I know this angle, I'm going to know that whatever that angle is the same as angle 1. So now let's talk about the angle that has a question mark. The angle with a question mark and 115 together, these make 180 degrees. Would you guys agree with that? They're a linear pair. So we're going to call the angle with a question mark, we'll call this one x. And so I can say x plus 115 has to equal 180. So x is 65. If we subtract 115, we get 65. So what that means is in my diagram, I know that this angle here is 65 degrees. And now I know that the 65 degrees and the angle 1 are alternate interior angles. So if the 65-degree angle up there is alternate interior with angle 1, then that means angle 1 is also 65 degrees. So sometimes we have to do a little bit of extra work first to be able to find something that relates to the angle that we need. So measure of angle 1 is 65 degrees. Okay?